Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, it's your brother Farhan again. Something I want to talk about that we usually associate with institutions but can be done on a personal level, and that's community service. And I understand that many times the institution, Al-Hijrah, or whatever masjid that you are a part of is a conduit to perform community service. And sometimes we believe that means to, hand out food, to hand out clothing, to be involved in these ways. And while those ways are good and great, and Al-Hijrah does provide those opportunities, I think that there's a lot that we can all do in our neighborhoods. So how many of us have gone around with our children just picking up trash in the neighborhood, just taking a trash bag, and getting one of those grippers, I'm sure all of you are familiar with them, and just picking up things and cleaning up the neighborhood. And just imagine the impact that will not only have on our children, because they'll see that we are active members of the neighborhood, that not only do we want to keep our homes clean, but we want to keep the entire neighborhood clean. This is something that is encouraging. It's something that's empowering. Imagine coming home and taking a look around and seeing that everything is clean. Why? Because we actually had a hand in it. Every time we put personal effort into these projects, we appreciate those projects that much more. And not only that, it'll help our children, it'll help our neighbors, it'll help the community really appreciate what is going on and how to maintain our neighborhoods. And many times you'll find that people will do good because they see us doing good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promises for himself, مَا جَزَاءُ الْإِحْسَانِ إِلَّا الْإِحْسَانِ. That is the reward for doing good, nothing less than good. And if we know that and we understand that, why do we not take that as our personal themes? That when we want others to do good for us, then we have to initiate and do good for them too. And this, again, is part of the greater theme of Ramadan of having good khuluq, of having good manners, having good character. The better character we have, the better manners we have, the better we learn how to deal with one another within the community and how to deal outside of the community. Because the reality is that many of us might have migrated here and many of us settled here, but how many of us actually have a long-term vision on what it means to be in America generationally? And that's an investment we really need to make. And I'm not talking about properties, I'm not talking about jobs, but I'm talking about how we learn how to deal with one another. And while these things are good, while having good properties and while having good jobs, these are all part of having a positive image. At the end of the day, the most and best lasting impression that any of us can make is in our mannerisms, is in our etiquette, and is in our character. Because when we look back even to the greatest of all creation, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't remembered because of his long prayer. He wasn't remembered because of his days of fasting. He was remembered because he was honest, he was trustworthy, he was upright, he was generous, and he was a great human being. And while the religious aspect is important, there's no doubt to it, but that character was what actually drew people to Islam. And if we understand that, and I know, walillahi alhamd, most of us do, all it is a matter of implementing it in our own lives, in our own families, and in our own communities. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those who are able to implement all these things and that community work, whether it be within the institution, like Al-Hijrah, or whether it be on a personal level in our neighborhoods, in our townships, in our states, or in our countries. Jazakumullah khair.